Okay, so now we're going to talk about some strategies to help you with your research and how to combine keywords to get the results that you want. So we're going to talk about Boolean operators to start off with. Boolean operators are and, or, and not. They're words that are used to combine your keywords in different ways to either broaden or narrow your search results. So and combines two keywords, and that'll actually limit your search, even though it sounds like it might not. But if you visualize it, like we have this graphic here, if we search for birds and migration, we're only receiving the information in the centerpiece of the Venn diagram. So we're only getting results that talk about birds and also talk about migration. So that'll limit your results if that's what you want to do. So contrast, we can use or to broaden your search results. So we're looking at birds or avian with this example, and as you can see, you're going to get every piece of that Venn diagram. So we're going to get results for just birds. We're going to get results that mention both birds and avian together. And we're also going to get results for just avian. The one caveat with this search is you want to use or for two keywords that are similar. Because if you don't, it won't give you what you want. So birds or avian, they're similar terms, different ways to talk about the same thing. So just remember, you only use or with similar words, a different way to say the same thing. If that makes sense. Another Boolean operator we don't have here that you want to use carefully, but you might want to be aware of, is not. So not would be useful if you keep getting results that have something that you just don't want to see. It's not helpful for you. So a quick example would be if you were searching for Kentucky and Lexington and you just kept getting articles about football and you don't want football at all, you're looking at completely different things. In that instance, you might want to use not in your search to say Kentucky and Lexington, not football. So then all of your results would be about Kentucky and Lexington, but would not include football. However, I would use this sparingly too, just if you keep running into the same results that aren't helpful for your research. So just as a reminder, and will narrow your search, and or will broaden your search. And then we're going to look at combination searching. So you can use these Boolean operators to combination search. You just have to think a little bit about what you're doing. So we have in parentheses here, avian or bird, and parentheses, climate change and migration. So the visuals in the Venn diagram help organize our thoughts of what results you're actually going to see. So we've broadened the search here to include anything that talks about avians, anything that talks about birds, anything that talks about both avians and birds together. But we also want to look at this very narrow section that includes both climate change and migration. So as a result, we're going to get any articles that have to do with climate change and migration and birds, or avians and birds, or just avians. So again, if you don't get the results that you want initially when you're searching, don't panic. It's not an exact science. Just play around with your keywords, use different combination searches, think about what you're doing a little bit. It really helps to write these keywords out so you can kind of organize your thoughts. And again, don't hesitate to reach out to the library to help you, because that's what we're here for, and we would love to do that. So just as another visual reminder of how to use the correct Boolean operator, here we have our table that we made in the first video. The major concepts are at the top row here, and you can see them highlighted in red in our topic. So how does climate change affect the behavior of birds? And we have pulled out the major concepts that we want to plug into this database, which are climate change, birds, and behavior. And underneath those major concepts, we've brainstormed a couple key words, so you can see them below. Again, as a reminder, you're allowed to repeat those major concepts and use them as keywords, but the keywords are going to be similar or related words. Okay, so I kind of like this visual to remember. Once you've made your table, when you're searching, so or is going to be used with synonyms or similar terms to broaden your search. So you want to go down the column. For example, global warming or climate change, avian or ducks, migration or communication. So it's not a productive search if you don't use the similar terms, because you want to find research that has it in a different way. You won't get the results that you want if you don't go down the column when you're using or, so just remember or, synonyms, similar terms only. And in contrast is going to be used to combine keywords from each major concept, and that will narrow your search. So and can be climate change and birds, birds and behavior, or climate change and birds and behavior. And so that will be a very narrow section where all of your articles include climate change, birds, and behavior. And we're going to look at a few more examples here. Okay, so we want to remember order of operations too. So the parentheses here just separate out the one search with the or, and then we also have the and. So bird or avian, and what's that going to do for our search? It's going to broaden. So any article referring to birds, any article referring to birds and avian, and any article referring to just avian. So that's its own separate entity, and we're combining that search with and migration. So all of the results have to include migration in it. So that will narrow to that specific point if that's what you want to research. The second example here is similar. So geese or ducks is going to broaden that search to include any article about geese or ducks, but it has to include flight patterns, which we added with the and. So flight patterns is a phrase, 2 words, but we're going to put quotation marks around them when we search for that phrase, because we don't want results that just say flight or just say patterns. We want to search for the entire phrase, flight patterns. So in order to find articles that include that entire phrase, you put quotation marks around it. We're going to talk about one more helpful search strategy here, which is called truncation or wildcards. So to search for more than one form of a word, you want to add an asterisk to the root of the word. But you want to kind of think about what kind of results you might get as a result of using this, of what you're searching. So the example here is migration with migrat with the asterisk. So that will search for articles that include different forms of that root, to include migrate, migratory, migrating, migration, migratorial, migrational, etc. So we also have an asterisk with the example with bird. So that could be looking at bird, birds, birding. Things like Google do that automatically, but databases don't. So it's a very useful tool if you're getting stuck. Maybe the articles that you need to find are using slightly different keywords or slightly different forms of the root word. So you might want to strategically use truncation in order to search for various forms of the word that the authors might use. Again, be careful with this. A quick example could be if you put cat with an asterisk, think about how many different results you could get that might have nothing to do with your research. I mean, just quickly, you could find cats, cathedrals, cathartic, caterpillar. So just be wary, but if you use it effectively and think about where to put the asterisk to the root of the word to help your search, it can definitely be an effective tool.